What's up, guys? I'm gonna get started here in a minute. I'm just trying to get logged in to some stuff. All right, welcome to episode 3, third instance of the Scratch Golf Show. if you're new here, my name's Marco, the host of the Scratch Golf Show. If you're new, like I said, if you're new here, I am just a random golfer, basically. I am lucky enough to be a scratch golfer, so I do have some skill at the game. But I started this channel because I like talking about golf, and I needed a outlet to talk about it. Basically, it. We talk about all things golf related here on the show. PGA Tour, LIV. I don't really stand on either side. I think both products are good. I also think both products could use improvement. But yeah, that's what we do here. We're going to talk about all things golf today. Going to start by just discussing a Masters recap. Uh, yeah, I love this shirt too. If you guys are in Michigan, Core Chiropractic, my dude Billy or his awesome fiance Maddie will hook you guys up with an awesome adjustment. They do great mobility stuff for golfers. So if you're in the Michigan area, Livonia area here in Southeast Michigan, Core Chiropractic. Anyway, so yeah, we want to start by discussing the Masters recap. But first, and most importantly, right before we came on today, there was an unexpected bombshell of a report, and I want to talk about it briefly because I think this could change the game as far as the merger between the two entities, between PGA Tour and LIV. I think this could be the final domino to really crush the PGA Tour. But as reported by Flushing It Golf, and if you guys aren't on Twitter, if you guys don't know kind of what's going on in the LIV PGA Tour drama, I do my best to stay in touch and in tune with it on Twitter. But Flushing It actually was the guy who broke. I know a lot of the major publications were late to the party, but Flushing It broke the ROM news about 2 weeks before. If you have been on Twitter at all, there's another account that I follow, Golf Lover UK. Both these guys are based in England. Golf Lover UK is actually a fan of the show, ironically, so shout out Golf Lover UK. But he's been on this story for a while also. But so I think this is pretty credible when it comes to like what's being said around online. But Flushing It is reporting that in London, Rory McIlroy could be close to joining LIV Golf for $850 million, plus ownership stake in the league. This report comes on the back of strong rumors among media members at the Masters. I mean, that's insane. If you guys have followed this saga at all over the last 3 years, Rory has basically been the PGA Tour's whipping boy. He was early on. He was taking a brunt of a lot of the questions from the media, a lot of the talking points from LIV. He famously quoted the quote-unquote LIV bots on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you're somewhat familiar with what the LIV bots are. But he's hated LIV. Like, he has been the most outspoken, other than probably Tiger, on the LIV side. He does not like LIV. He doesn't like Greg. He famously said after he won the RBC Canadian Open in 2022, that was his, I want to say, 23rd or 24th win. I can't remember the exact amount. But it was like that win got him over Greg Norman's total, which he took a shot at Greg in the interview after the post-round interview where the quote, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was just like, yeah, like this one was special to me because it, was one more than, who. Basically what he said, not word for word, so don't quote me too much. But yeah, like this is huge. If this is true, I firmly believe that it is. and it was also reported on Twitter by another account. I don't know if it was as credible, but that Victor Hovland was also a target for LIV, and that could be coming soon. Hovland was there's been rumors about Hovland going to LIV in the past. He obviously is not playing well right now, but 6 months, 8 months ago, Victor Hovland was literally the best player on the planet for about a 6 month stretch. He won like $30 million or $20 million in like 10 days last year. But I really do think it more Rory than Victor, just because Victor obviously doesn't have as much cachet as Rory. I think Victor's obviously a really good player, not playing well right now. Missed a tap-in putt, which we'll cover in the next segment, which is the Masters recap. But I just wanted to start with this because it's when I read this, like I was on the golf course a couple hours ago hacking it up with my guy Billy at Core. But I read this on the way home and I was just like, this is insane. Like there's no way this is true. If this is true and Rory does end up signing with LIV, I'm genuinely curious, and I'm going to ask around and try and do some research on. If he does agree to a deal, would it be for 2025? Would he come in halfway through the LIV season? If you guys aren't familiar with how LIV works, they were a breakaway tour from the PGA Tour, started by the PIF, which is the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. But yeah, like I don't know. Like their season is weird. It's only 14 events. They're big into like team golf, which the team aspect of it isn't for me. And I've gone on record stating that I do like LIV, the product this year and kind of the back half of last year. It really grew on me from a viewing and a viewer and fan perspective. I don't really care about the team stuff. It's just not for me. I'm not I play golf as an individual sport. I feel like most people play golf as an individual sport, but yeah, like the team stuff is cool, but they only have 14 events, and they've already had 4. And so I believe their next one, I'd have to double check their schedule, but they only have 14 events. So if Rory were to come, how would that affect the LIV team standings? How would that affect the individual standings? Would he come in the middle of the season? Would he make a debut in a random event and just kind of play the wild card? Like how Anthony Kim does it. If you guys aren't familiar with how LIV works, they have 54 players, 13 teams of 4, and then 2 wild cards. Anthony Kim does play as a wild card. I don't know exactly what the wild card does. I don't know if they can sub out a score for somebody on Sunday or if they're just there to improve like the qualification process to improve their world golf ranking point system. So I'm interested to see how this shakes out. Rory is obviously one of the biggest names in golf outside of Tiger Woods. He has been ever since he really came out. This dude was the next Tiger at one point, in the early 2010. I mean, when he was rattling off wins, rattling off majors. I mean, Rory was literally the crown, the next Tiger. And that later discussion for a different day. I don't ever think there will be the next Tiger like we're going on right now about how Scotty Scheffler just won the Masters is the next Tiger. I love Scotty. But we need to stop with the Tiger comps because there's only one Tiger Woods. And no matter how good these guys are, I don't think they'll ever be as good as Tiger Woods. But regardless, like, Rory was taking a lot of the brunt from the media last, 2 years ago before the June 6th announcement. And then the June 6th announcement happened and Rory wasn't in the loop. So I think ever since then, and that would have been last summer. So if you guys watched the Full Swing series at all, it covered it. I think in the first or second episode, if you just want to give that a watch, it's on Netflix for Full Swing. But basically, like Rory, like if I was Rory, I would have been pissed that like he's been out here. Like Jay Monahan is non-existent, and if you don't know who Jay Monahan is the commissioner of the PGA Tour. So he has been non-existent in the media. He doesn't say anything. He just bashes LIV to the point of no remorse. He's fumbled the bag in this entire negotiation process. If he simply just took the phone call from LIV, we wouldn't be where we are in the world of professional golf. There wouldn't be such a divide on Twitter, in general between golf fans. So this doesn't really surprise me at all. I'm honestly shocked we hadn't heard it sooner. I think the only reason we hadn't was because of how outspoken Rory. Exactly, yeah. How does he still have a job? I don't get it. But I don't like. I think it took us a while because I mean, maybe Rory wanted to create some distance, and now that John Rahm has signed on with LIV, like that was a really large domino in the world of golf. Like signing the reigning Masters champion, arguably the best player in the world at the time, over to LIV Golf for whatever it was, 500, 600 million. He got his own team. He handpicked his team basically outside of, I think, one guy made it through on his team for the qualifying process. But I think once Rahm joined, this was only inevitable, where the PGA Tour just can't compete with LIV in an arms race. Like, they do not have the money financially to do that. So, like, I'm not surprised. I mean, you know, 850 million is probably a lot of money to almost everyone on earth, but when you already have hundreds of million, probably almost a billion. Like Rory does a lot of off the course stuff. If you're not familiar with what he does a lot of investments. He's built like a small empire, like outside of the golf course with just the investments he's made. He's won 3 FedEx Cups. Obviously, you know the prize payout on those, 10 million plus. He's got 4 majors, 25 PGA Tour wins. The dude has money. So the fact that he's getting almost $1 billion to come to LIV, I mean, it's kind of hard to say no. And when you have that money, I think that was the initial thing of like when Rahm went, he's like, well, 300, 400 million is not going to change my life. But with Rory, it's like the money's not going to change his life. I just genuinely think he wants I genuinely think why Rory's doing this is, one, he's probably sick of the PGA Tour. Like, he's sick of the way he's been treated. He's sick of the two-faced Jay Monahan, talk out of both sides of his mouth, trash LIV, and then behind the scenes, him and Jimmy Dunn are working on a backroom deal to bring the world together, or to bring the world of golf together. But I really do think, like, Rory's doing this because Rory wants the world of golf to be reunited again. I think we saw it this weekend at the Masters. Seeing all the guys together again is what everybody wants. Everyone, LIV can have their tournaments, the PGA Tour can have their tournaments, but we've seen on the tour this year that the stars just aren't winning. And on LIV, they're only getting bigger and they're only getting better. They keep signing people. They're now in their 3rd full season. I think when this first started, a lot of people didn't really think LIV would cease to exist at this point, but they are a force to be reckoned with. And if they sign the current, I don't know his exact number, top 2, top 3, whatever he is. If they sign the top, Rory McIlroy, a 4-time major champion, somebody who's been so outspoken on LIV, that is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, we've had a bunch of big names, obviously, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, John Rahm. Go down the list of the guys on LIV. There's been some big names to come, but I really do think this is going to be the one that really shifts the landscape in golf. And like I said, this guy Flushing at Golf, he does good work. He started growing his Twitter, similar to how I'm doing. I think he does a podcast, not a YouTube show. He's really good, and so I trust his reporting and the fact that he, if he's saying this, there's teeth to it. Now, whether it happens or not, I think is still up in the air. But generally, when these reports come out, I think we saw it when Cam Smith went, that Cam Smith did it right, where he was, and it's not confirmed, but this is my suspicion, is that he started leaking stuff to the media that he was going to LIV about a month or 6 weeks before he started making that move. And it was literally, I think, the week after or the 2 weeks after the Open Championship, the news really picked up. But he started leaking stuff because he knew that if it was a slow bleed per se with him making the move, that he wouldn't face as much backlash as some of the other players had. But like I said, I think if this report is true, it's only a matter of when. And I don't know what the PGA Tour is going to do. I mean, Tiger is great, and as if you guys don't know, Tiger and Rory have basically been running the PGA Tour behind the scenes with Jay Monahan and a few other players in the PGA Tour board. But it's been very well reported that Tiger is making a lot of the decisions. But I think we saw from Tiger this weekend that he just can't do it anymore. He can't carry the PGA Tour. He had that job for 20 plus years. Tiger built golf into what it is today. I think myself and a lot of people my age, early 90s kids, early 2000s, got into golf because of Tiger Woods. But he just doesn't have it anymore. I mean, he's old. The dude's got every different bone in his body fused, whether it's his back, his knee, his ankle, And we saw this weekend he can't play anymore. Like he just can't do it. He can't compete in a 72-hole tournament. It's my opinion that I think Tiger should go to LIV because then he wouldn't have to play 72 holes and he could probably take a cart. But he can't carry the mantle of the tour anymore. And I think that torch was passed to Rory, and Rory has just gotten sick of it. And I think it's affected his game. It's affected his career. I'm sure it's affected his personal life. I mean, he was on the PGA Tour policy board last year. He resigned. He kind of just said, fuck this. Like, I just want to play golf. Like, I just want to, do the thing that I'm really fucking good at doing, which is hitting a golf ball in a hole. Rory is awesome. What I'm genuinely curious about is this report, and I haven't read the actual article in depth. I didn't see anything about a team, so I'm genuinely curious. It says he has ownership stake in the league, so I'm curious what that's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, this is wild. Like I said, I think in a matter of time, it's just a matter of if or when, not if, that Rory joins LIV. So yeah, I don't know what the PGA. Like I said, I don't know what the PGA Tour is going to do. I just think they're screwed. Like they are literally screwed. They're getting decimated by LIV, and basically the only stars that they have now are Tiger. I mean, JT, Rory. Obviously if Rory leaves, Hovland's not playing well. Spieth hasn't won. They've got Scotty. I mean, Scotty's awesome, but Scotty's not very outspoken. I love Scotty, but he kind of keeps to himself. He's a family man. He's a man of faith. If you guys didn't see his press conference yesterday. And I think he's great, and I think he's got star quality, but there's only one Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler can't play every week. He can't play 52 weeks a year. And I've gone on record saying that I think Rory jumping to LIV would be the best thing for him, for his game. I think it would free him up mentally, knowing that he wouldn't have to play on a week-to-week basis. Like a lot of the stuff that the LIV guys have gotten and a lot of the stuff they said would, the light schedule. I think the PGA Tour, I don't know the exact, I want to say it's over 40 weeks of the year that there's PGA Tour events. And the schedule doesn't stop. The FedEx Cup doesn't stop. The points race doesn't stop. The OWGR doesn't stop. So with him going to LIV, I think it'd be better for him. I think he'd only have to play a finite amount of time a year. I think if he makes the jump, then they have to open up the World Golf Ranking Point discussion for LIV again. I think Phil made a comment. Yeah, right. Literally, yeah, he is. Scotty is. But anyway, I think Phil said it this weekend that LIV might be changing their format to 72 holes, which, if you put 2 and 2 together, if they sign the number 3 best player in the world and the number 2 best player in the world, Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy, they're going to have to open up the PGA Tour or the World Ranking Points again. So LIV gets World Ranking Points with Rory. They're going to go to 72-hole format. Well, it's not reported. That's what Phil said. He said, I don't know the exact quote. Phil said something along the lines of LIV may go to 72 holes for some, if not all tournaments. It's just a matter of time. I think the golf world would like that. I don't get the 54-hole format. I get the shorter events. At the end of the day, why not just add another round? I don't know if they're going to add a cut or not. But the dominoes are starting to fall. If you read the tea leaves, this could be the one. And I'm not saying that lightly. I love the PGA Tour. I loved watching them, the events growing up as a kid. Like I said, I've much more enjoyed LIV now because one thing that LIV has done is they signed a lot of personalities. Rory being one, Tyrrell Hatton being one, Jon Rahm being one, Dustin Johnson, even though he's boring as hell. I think he does that. I think he does that to give off a vibe. But he's a personality. Brooks Koepka is a personality. Ian Poulter, Sergio Garcia, personalities. LIV is just taking a lot of the life out of the PGA Tour product, and we've seen it this year. The product in the PGA Tour obviously hasn't been great. The commercial load's too much. The fields are weaker. There's not as many names. Ratings are down almost every event. I mean, even the Players was down, and that was one of the better events of the year. I think the ratings run from this weekend. This was one of the most watched Masters of all time, or at least in the last few years, probably, I would guess, since Tiger, I don't have the exact facts in front of me, so I'm just kind of spitballing off the top of my head, but I would guess that this was probably the most watched Masters since 2019 when Tiger won. But yeah, so quite the bombshell on a Monday afternoon. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time doing that. I'm already gone way longer than I wanted to on that aspect. But yeah, so stay tuned. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, the Scratch Golf Show on Instagram, Scratch Golf Show, no the on Twitter, just Scratch Golf Show. I'll update, things on there. I'll post stuff on there if something does happen. If you guys want to stay in tune, not trying to be Adam Schefter or an insider. I just genuinely love the world of golf. So if you want to stay in tune and you're not as up to date as I am, or if you're not as up to date as you'd like to be, let me be your Adam Schefter. Let me be your source of truth. I will update you once there's an update. Anyway, the real topic of today's show is going to be a Masters recap. If you jumped in on our first show last week, I love the Masters. If you didn't get a chance to give it a watch, go ahead and do so. It's on my YouTube channel. It's under the live section. It's our first show. We did an in-depth breakdown of Augusta National. We did an in-depth, not really an in-depth. We did a breakdown of the Masters. Did a gambling breakdown, who we liked, who we didn't like. We were right on some things. We were really wrong on some things. So let's get into it. If you didn't get a chance to watch this weekend, or if you just live under a fucking rock, Scottie Scheffler, your 2024 Masters champion, it really wasn't close. I mean, the front nine, yes, it was, but I think almost everyone knew that Scottie was going to get it done. He started out slow, hit a terrible shot into one, an approach shot, and then on two he juiced. He drove it in the bunker on number two. Laid up, nuked one over the green on two, made par, and then from there he really got his round rolling. Made birdie on three, bogeyed four. Bogeyed four, parred five. Parred six, bogeyed seven, and at that point he would have been one over for the round. Colin made an early push in the front nine. Max made an early push in the front nine. Ludwig made an early push on the front nine. I want to say when Ludwig and Max made the turn after 9, there was 4 guys at 7 under. Scottie made bogey on 7. Birdied 8, 9, 10. Ludwig made double on 11. Max made double on 12. And Morikawa doubled 11, and he doubled 9. And basically, as soon as Max made double on 12, and if you didn't get a chance to watch, we talked about it on our last week's show, and we were talking, I can't remember who asked the question, but we talked about hole 12 at Augusta and how that is a very hard par 3, especially on Sunday. And Max hit a really good shot. Max played really well yesterday. I know I talked about it last week, and this one of the things that I really got wrong was I didn't think Max had a chance to win. And in reality, he really probably didn't have much of a chance to win yesterday. I mean, honestly, I don't think he ever had a chance, but he was in contention. If you haven't followed Max Homa's career much, he has not played well in the majors. He's coming off a top 10, his first top 10 in the British Open, or in the Open Championship last year. So for him to lock up another top 10 is awesome. If he somehow craters off a cliff over the next year, he's going to come back to Augusta next year. Top 12 and ties do receive an invite for next year's Masters. But yeah, he hit a shot that probably went 5 yards too long, hit off the downslope back behind 12 green, bounced into a bush, had to take an unplayable, made double. And we've seen that. I mean, I literally talked about that last week. How many times have we seen that? And Colin Morikawa made it. Speaking of guys I was wrong on, I said fade Morikawa. And he wasn't, we didn't really think he had a chance to win, but he played well. He had top 3, T3. Good for him. But he made double on 9. And after that, he really kind of fell out of it, but he did make double on 11. Also, he hit one in the water. He kind of talked about how he tried to force the issue on the back 9 yesterday. But it's like in the matter of an hour, it went from, oh my God, I can't wait to watch this back 9 unfold, to, holy shit, like, Scotty's won by the time he got to 12T. And it's like everyone melted down. It was insane. Like I said, if you didn't get a chance to watch, he birdied it. Like I said, he birdied 8, 9, and 10. to get to 9 under, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember the exact number, but after that it was basically over. And he bogeyed 11, which 11 is a brutally hard hole. Another hole that we recapped last week. It's a 530-yard par 3, surrounded by water, all left, long. There's water, and you can't miss right because it's an impossible up and down because every chip shot funnels towards the water. He made bogey on 11. He steps up on 12T, and it's literally the shot I talked about from 2019. It was Tiger-esque. He stepped up, and he hit it in the center of the fucking green, between those two bunkers that I talked about last week. 2 putted for par, got out of there with a 3, and then from there he's got 6 holes with, I think at the time, a 2-shot lead because Ludwig birdied 13 and 14 to get to 8 under or 7 under. But it's like once you get past 12, I mean, the thing with Augusta is their disaster lurks on every hole. But once you get past 12, there's really not many holes you can make a mess of. I mean, you can, but when you have a 2-shot lead, it's obviously a lot easier to not make a mess of those holes because you don't want to not play aggressive, but you also don't want to think too much. You're just like, I'm just going to step up and hit this shot and just avoid big numbers, avoid bogeys. And with Scotty being so good, I mean, the dude does everything well. The question mark was his putter, and I want to say he was top 5 in putting for the week. He was number 1 off the tee. He was number 1 in iron play, number 1 in tee to green, number 1 around the green. I mean, the dude, one of the things I love about Scotty is everyone talks about how good his ball striking is. Everyone talks about how good, of a tee game and how he just doesn't miss the center of the club face, doesn't miss the fairway. But his short game is one of his most underrated attributes in this game. I mean, he gets up and down from everywhere, and all those guys do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everyone on the PGA Tour has a good short game. That's why they're on the PGA Tour. But when you're number 1 in chipping for the week around the green, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I talked about it. Like I said, I talked about it on our show last week that you have to be so precise around Augusta National. You can't be off at all. Even if you're off by a foot or an inch, the ball can roll 80 yards in a different direction. So when Scotty didn't miss it, he missed it in the right spot. He chipped it, and if he hit a bad chip, he made the putt. And so for him, like I said, he gets to 13. He birdied 13, and then he birdied 14. And from there, once he birdied 14, it was over. I mean, literally, I think he was at 10 under after 14. The next closest was Ludwig at 7. Made par on 15. He had a questionable shot in a 15. He was 230. I think he probably could have laid up, but I don't hate it. I mean, the dude, when you just consistently fucking stripe it, it doesn't matter. But he got up and down on 15, made birdie on 16, par 17, par 18. Boom. Scotty Scheffler, your Masters champion. He had 7 birdies yesterday. I want to say that I think I read an article that it was the most ever by a winner on Sunday. And that's just Scotty Scheffler's game to a T. I feel like even if somebody did make a push, let's say Ludwig got to 10 and posted 10 under in the clubhouse, Scotty was going to get to 11. Everyone knows it, right? Let's say if Ludwig posted 11 under, Scotty was going to get to 12. Scotty wasn't losing. I'm sorry. Not to discredit anything else from any of the other players, but Scotty was never losing that Masters. The only way Scotty was losing was Saturday night. Meredith goes into labor. He withdraws, which good for him. I don't think I could have done it. But yeah, I'm not the one who gets to play Augusta National for the rest of my life. So, but yeah, I mean, rather lackluster Sunday from a drama perspective. Twitter was full of clown takes. I'm thinking about instituting a clown tweet of the week segment in the show. Just the amount of stupid stuff that's said on Twitter from people who have no idea what they're talking about, but thinks they're a golf tout because they watched a couple events. Literally describing myself, but I won't say anything. But just a lot of the nonsense that was being spoken on Twitter about everything. Bryson, Scotty, everything. It wasn't, there was no drama. Augusta, there wasn't enough birdies, blah, blah, blah. From a golf fan's perspective, Can we just shut up? Can we stop talking about stupid stuff? It's the Masters. We get this week 1 week a year. Can we just shut up with all the nonsense that's being spewed on social media? Like, can we just enjoy Augusta National? Can I just sit on my ass, on my couch? I don't care. I don't care if Scotty was up by 15. It's for us viewers and for most people who play golf, Augusta National is the literal crown jewel of golf courses. It is my favorite course in the world, and I have literally never played it. And I've played hundreds of golf courses. Good ones, too. You know, I don't want to brag on myself, but Augusta National is the literal crown jewel. And everyone this weekend was just, ripping on the product. The product sucks. Jim Nantz sucks, blah, blah, blah. LIV players, PGA Tour players, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, can we just enjoy this week? Like, we won't get another, basically, with the current landscape it is now, we get 4 weeks a year when we get the best players in the world together. Can we just enjoy the week that was, enjoy the Masters, enjoy Augusta National? The broadcast this year I thought was really good. New angles. I think that really helped show how undulated and how difficult of a golf course Augusta National was. I think there was a few different camera angles that I saw, like on the eighth. The eighth hole is a par 5, the second par 5 in the front 9, surrounded by mounds. Long, narrow green that kind of gets wider. But it's surrounded by mounds on the left and the right. And we've famously seen Tiger sling like a 3-wood into that back left flag. And the Sunday pin yesterday was a back left flag. We've seen Tiger hit some amazing shots into that hole. But there was one, I think it was Ludwig, or maybe it was Scotty, I can't remember. But they showed like basically like a ground angle almost, where they're like looking up, and you could just see how much undulation. Like you could see like Scotty's over long right of the green, the pin's back left, and he hits this bump and run. I don't know if it's a 60 or a 58 or a 56 that bounces on. He had probably 60 feet of green to work with. Bounces onto the green. Trundles, keeps trundling, and then they show the backside of it from like you're looking at Scotty, and you can see the slope that he's chipping down. It's literally like this, and the ball just keeps going, and I love that because, like I said, as a golfer, like everyone on earth wants to play Augusta National, so I love that place. Really good. I enjoyed it. I love the Masters. I don't care if it's 10 golfers. I don't care if it's 100 golfers. I'm gonna watch it because it's my favorite tournament of the year. I feel like I say that about every major, but the Masters specifically, it's just the coolest golf course. Like, it is so cool. It's so green. I don't care if it's the same course every year. I don't care if it's the same setup every year. I love it. But yeah. What else? Scotty. Not really much of a good leaderboard, not great. I think just from a name perspective, none of the LIV guys really played that well outside of Bryson. Bryson, I think, finished at 2 under, which would have been, I don't know if there was anyone at 3, but I think that would have been T6. Him and, who was it? Hatton. Hatton had a good round yesterday. 2 LIV guys, top 6. There was I think 4 of the top 12 on LIV. But that's another thing, is the nonsense that was being spewed on social media. Like, these LIV guys can't play. Like, they're still golfers. They're still professional golfers, and they still compete on a week-to-week basis. These guys are really fucking good. Like, Bryson, I think, is ranked 210th. Like, find me one person, maybe Jay Monahan, because he's an idiot. But find me one person who thinks that Bryson DeChambeau is the 210th best golfer in the world. I'll give you $100 if you can find somebody. You probably can't. Somebody who knows golf. I'm looking at you, Bill, because I know you're going to pull some BS on me. But, the LIV guys played great. Not that that's a surprise to anyone. If you didn't, DJ. Loved DJ this week, or last week. Bet him. Had him in a matchup. And he lost to Jose Maria Olazabal, who's 60. Made the cut. DJ, I think, shot 78, 79. But yeah, just to get back to Bryson, shot 65 and then wasn't. I don't want to say this in a negative way because I feel like Bryson is a very polarizing figure. He draws a lot of attention to himself. I think he does it on purpose sometimes. I think he likes the attention personally. That's fine. You do whatever you want, man. You're major champion, one of the top probably 20 golfers in the world. But he just wasn't really much of a factor after the first day. Like, he shot 73 the second day on Friday, and if you joined us on Friday, we talked about the carnage that was on Friday at Augusta. 8 rounds under par, 1 round in the 60s. Ludwig had the lowest round of the day on Friday at 69. 16 rounds at even par or better on Friday. Bryson shot 1 over 73, which I think is a really good round for that day. 76 on Saturday, kind of came apart on the back 9. I didn't watch a ton of the coverage Saturday. I listened to it. I was on the golf course hacking it up. But I know Bryson kind of came unglued. He holed one out on 18 actually for birdie from the fairway to get in at 3 under. And then, 73 again yesterday. 65, 73, 76, 73. I think. Just not going to get it done. And I highlighted that when I talked about Bryson from the betting perspective of he's never played well at Augusta National. Outside of the first year, he was low am. And if you look at him that year, he looks like a pencil compared to what he looks like now because he's put on all that muscle. But it's a course that Bryson should play well at, but he hasn't. And for some reason, we can't figure out why. And I really thought that, oh, shit, like, maybe I was wrong. Bryson shot 65. Lowest round of the week, by the way. Good for him. It was a great round. But where he struggled was the touch and the feel that I highlighted last week. You have to be so precise at Augusta when you're chipping. Or you have to miss it in the right spot. Because even when you miss it in the right spot, it's still a hard up and down. And I highlighted last week with Bryson, when he chips with that 60 or 50, I don't know, he changes his bag. I mean, the dude had a 3D printed set of irons put in his bag this week, which is kind of cool. They got his logo on the back. I mean, Bryson has done a really good job building his brand off the course, so good for him. But he put these 3D printed irons in his bag this week. I'm pretty sure he owns the company or he worked with the company who did them. They just got like approved from the USGA, like going into the Masters. But he's like, you have to be so precise, and those one length irons, you see it in his chipping. Like it's hard to chip with a regular 60, and when you have the 60, the length of a 7 iron or a 6 iron, it's just hard to. The longer the club is, the harder it is to control. That is obvious. There's a reason why we hit our drivers 300 yards and we hit our 60s 80. It's because it's a shorter club. But when you have a 7 iron, a 60 the length of a 7 iron, that just not going to get it done. Like, it's just hard. And like, as good as he is, I mean, and don't get me wrong, like Bryson has a really good short game. And he might have only been off by a couple inches, but that matters. That matters at Augusta National. That matters at the Masters. And it was his putting too. He lost all feel on Saturday. And I talked about it. I talked about it when I said I don't want to bet him this week because he doesn't play well there. And I think he showcased it after the first after his first round of 65, where he didn't go under par again. And obviously the course was playing difficult, right? The course wasn't playing easy this week. It's been lengthened again. So Augusta doesn't want a birdie fest. But yeah, Bryson, T6, locks up an exemption for next year, even though he already has one. Tyrrell Hatton, good round. Tyrrell is interesting. He's never loved Augusta. He's actually famously bitched about it a ton and had a ton of negative things to say about, it doesn't reward good shots, this and that. It's like, dude, no one wants to hear it. But Tyrrell, T6. Rounding out the top 10 was, I believe, Zalatoris. Let me double check. I forget. Yeah, Cam Smith, T6. I forgot about Cam Smith. Cam Smith, T6. Bryson, T6 at 6 under. Schauffele at 1 under at T8. Zalatoris, T9. Hatton, T9. Cam Young, T9. Pavon, Matthew Pavon, Patrick Reed, +1. Adam Schenk, +1. Cam Davis, +1 to round out your top 12. So all those guys who aren't already qualified will be headed back to the Masters next year, which was cool. Good for them. I'm jealous. I wish I could play Augusta. Trying to think of some other storylines. Rory. Speaking of Rory, I know we talked about him ad nauseum earlier in the show. Just another lackluster performance at Augusta. He shot 71 on the first day, which has been his struggle the first round. So for him just to get anywhere under par was great. 77 on Friday, and after that, he was just not a factor. I talked about it last week when I said I don't want to bet him. I won't bet him in a major. I don't think I'll ever bet him just because the books never give him a good number unless it's in a matchup. But even then, you're not going to get a good number on him. But yeah, like it's just another lackluster performance. I was listening to the No Laying Up show. They did a show last night, and they did a segment where they talked about, is Rory going to get it done at Augusta? Some of them said yes, some of them said no. It's the last leg of his career Grand Slam. I think it's an interesting topic. I don't know. I don't know how he doesn't win more. I don't know how he hasn't won at Augusta. The course is built for him. Like, he drives it so well. He is such a good driver of the golf ball. I don't think he drove it super well this week, and that's probably why he didn't play well. I know he's gone on the record saying that he saw Butch Harmon a couple weeks ago. He's kind of working on his takeaway, so I don't know if that had anything to do playing in his mind. But, yeah, like I said, another lackluster performance. But maybe he was thinking about going to LIV. Maybe that's why he didn't play well. Maybe he was thinking about going to LIV this weekend. My guy Minwoo Lee, T22. He had a good Sunday. I think he shot 3 under. A matchup that we highlighted, Patrick Cantlay and Matt Fitzpatrick. They both were in at +4, so they tied. Waco Neiman, T22, another name that we highlighted last week. A guy that I liked going into the week, a guy that I bet on in top 10, top 5, and outright, and in a matchup. Waco, he played okay. I think he shot 2 under the first day. Where he came unglued was on Saturday or on Friday. He almost missed the cut. Not really, because the cut ended up moving to +6, but he was cruising. And then on the back 9 on Friday, just came apart. Bogey 10, double 11, bogey 16, bogey 13, bogey 15. And he went from like even par or 1 under to +4. And it looked like the cut was gonna be +5. And he was at +5 at one point on the back 9. And he birdied 18 to get to +4. He did receive a special exemption. He's a LIV guy. Obviously, if you don't follow that, Joaquin Neiman plays on LIV of the Torquay GC team. I don't know if he's the captain or not. I'm pretty sure he is. He's gone on record on LIV this year saying that he wants to play in the majors. He wanted to play in the Masters. Very confident in his game. Obviously, won twice on LIV already this year. Little lackluster week, I think, for him. I think he'd say the same thing. I think if he maybe had a better round on Friday or even a better back 9, I think he just really had a bad 9 holes. Yesterday, I think he shot 1 over. Saturday, I think he shot even. But yeah, like I said, lackluster. I think top 22 is good. But for him, I'm sure he would have wanted to get into the top 12 in ties just to secure his Masters for next year. He's not guaranteed a spot. But hopefully by this time next year that all this shit is sorted out, we won't have to deal with this BS of who's in the Masters, or the best players in the majors. Are the majors losing credibility because the LIV guys aren't in there? All that nonsense. It's Taylor Gooch playing. Was this Masters asterisk because Taylor Gooch wasn't in the field? That's an inside joke for golf people. If you don't get it, then sorry. But yeah, rounding out the top 30, we had Tom Kim, Jason Day, Siwoo Kim, JT Poston. JT Poston's actually had a low-key, really good year. He is a cut-making machine. So if you want to bet somebody to make the cut every week, maybe look at JT Poston. Ricky Fowler, T30. Good for Ricky, T30. That's a good week for him in a major. Usually misses the cut. I love Ricky, but the guy's he's not it, man. One of the most overhyped people of all time. He actually got lucky because he was one of those +6 guys who got backed in when JT fucking collapsed on Friday. 7 over the last 4 to move the cut line from +5 to +6. I had 2 guys in matchups that I bet against who were on +6, so that kind of screwed me, but I ended up winning both those bets anyway. Ricky actually made the cut on the number at +6. Moved up 30 spots on the weekend, so good for him. Let's hope he plays some better golf. I'm just looking at Phil, T43. My guy Denny McCarthy, shout out Denny, T45. He actually had a good day yesterday. I think he shot 2 or 3 under. Shout out to Jose Maria Olazabal, T45. He won in 94 and 99, the Masters. I was born in 94. I'm old. I'm 30. Hell of a weekend. Hell of a week. The guy plays basically one event a year. And if you don't know, you're allowed to play the Masters for life if you win. Lucky for him, he won twice, so he gets to play for life. But good on him for not only making the cut, but let's take a look at the 3 names behind him on the leaderboard. Jose Maria Olazabal, 58, 59, Ryder Cup captain, Spanish, big Spanish golfer, +9, T45. Who else finished at T45? Brooks Koepka. That guy any good? 4-5 majors. I loved him this week. T45, thanks Brooks. Sahith Theegala, young and up-and-coming star on the PGA Tour. Well, let's not say star. Young and upcoming really good player on the PGA Tour. Jon Rahm, anybody? Jon Rahm tied Jose Maria Olazabal. Jon Rahm, I'm pretty sure Seve and Jose Maria were Jon Rahm's idols growing up. And he tied him. So good on him. That's about it. A bunch of no-names that round out the rest of the leaderboard. Tiger, dead fucking last. He's 60th place by himself. 82.77 on the weekend. Maybe time to stop trying to prove everyone wrong, Tiger. I don't like seeing you play like that. Nobody wants to see Tiger struggle. He played with Neil Shipley on Sunday. Low am, good for him. It's a weird fiasco with like this note passing thing with a reporter and Tiger and Shipley on Sunday. If you didn't follow it on Twitter, go do some research. I'm not going to spend time covering it. It's just a really awkward and unique exchange by a reporter and an amateur in the press room. But yeah, that's the Masters, man. Scotty won. Good on him. I love Scotty. Been touting Scotty for a long time. The dude's a fucking winner. He's literally won it at every level of golf. AJGA, college, Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour. I think, and this might be a real hot take, because I just talked about this earlier, but I really do think he could be the next guy of our generation. He doesn't have any weaknesses. He's just so good. Now I want to put a holding on how many majors is Scotty going to have, how many, all this nonsense that we all like to do when a guy has a hot year or a hot few weeks, wins a few majors, Rory, DJ, Jason Day, whoever else there's been over the past 10 years. But I really do think he is going to be a dude for a long time. I mean, he's already proven it. Like, he's got, I don't know the exact number, and I probably should be more research when I'm doing this show, but I think he has 8 or 9 PGA Tour wins. Ironically enough, all of them have come between, I want to say, February and April. 2 Players, 2 Bay Hills, 2 Masters, the Match Play. One more. Maybe I might have 10. But they've all come between February and April. So good on him. Good on Scotty. Obviously, we want a pretty large wager. If you watch the gambling aspect of the show last week, I love Scotty even at +450. I think you're still getting value on him at that number. I was lucky enough to bet him at +600, but I gave out +450 last week. That hit, so if you tailed, good on you. But yeah, I'm sad. I'm sad the Masters is over. I love it. Like I said, you can see over my shoulder here, I've got Amen Corner, which is 11, 12, and 13, the little intersection of the course. One of the most crazy intersections of any course ever. The amount of history that's been made there, and I've got the Masters towel. Ironically enough, I bought that towel when I went to Augusta in 2011, the year Rory melted down. Ironically enough, the year Schwartzel won. That towel has been pristine. Never used. I think it was like $20, but I've never used it. Just sits on the wall. Wall decoration. I love it. I love the Masters. I love golf. I love Augusta National. I'm so sad it's over. I feel like we were just on Thursday. I was just waking up, And everyone knows, if you're a golfer at all, that you wake up Thursday morning and you hear the music, the Masters music, you hear Jim Nance's voice or who's ever calling it, and it's like Christmas. And then you wake up Monday morning and you're like, fuck, I gotta wait another year for this. I gotta wait another year to see the best golf course on earth. It's sad. It really is. Anyway, yeah, that was the Masters, man. What a weekend it was. I did a recap on Friday. It's in our YouTube channel. It's under the live section if you want to look at that. Like I said, I'm just sad. All right. That's all I want to talk about from the Masters. If you have any questions or if there's anything you guys want me to cover, post it in the chat. I'm more than happy to talk about it. I talked to one viewer on Friday. I think it was my fiance and my mom. That was awesome, but I'm still here, still doing it. I still love this. This is so much fun. You guys have no idea how much fun I have doing this. Just unload the brain from the weekend of just golf thoughts. All right. So we spent the first 15 minutes or so of the show talking about Rory moving to LIV. If you jumped in late, nothing is official, but there's been boots on the ground reporting at Augusta National this weekend between media members, reported by Flushing It Golf on Twitter, that Rory could be making the move to LIV. So if you want to rewind or check the recording once we're done to go back and hear my thoughts on that. Let's just cover a little bit of the betting angle. We can look ahead to the week that is this week. No LIV event this week. Just the PGA Tour. So I had a really good weekend from a betting perspective. I hope you tailed last week. I hope you tailed our picks. I hope you tailed our matchups. So I had 4 outrights. Scotty obviously won. I had Scotty. I had Brooks. Yeah, nice pick that was. You can only have one winner. That's the thing, is when you're betting golf and you bet outrights, if you bet 5 outrights, you're going to go 1-4, but you're most likely going to be profitable because only one guy can win. I bet Neiman at 30-1, and I bet DJ at 40-1. DJ, I don't know what the hell happened. I was not expecting that at all from DJ. I watched some of his round on Friday morning. I was actually at my buddy Friday morning. Yeah, that was a shit show. We had two position bets. I'm not a big position player guy. It's hard. I think now the books are doing more like including ties in those bets, that I may start including them more into my betting cards every week. I missed on both of them, ironically enough. I had Neiman top 10 including ties, Neiman top 5 including ties. Didn't come to fruition. Then I had a parlay of Phil, Sergio, and Tiger to make the cut, which didn't hit. Thank you, Sergio, for your Friday 79. All you had to do was shoot 78, and I'm up another couple $100. But no, Sergio did a full Sergio and shot 79. So not great from the outright perspective. I mean, we obviously hit the winner, but not great from the position bets or the parlay. I may try and do a make the cut parlay every week. I think those are cool, and you can get halfway decent odds if you can get a 3 or 4 leg parlay on make the cut. Where we shined and where we really highlighted last week was the matchups, the 72-hole betting matchups. I talked about it last week not really at nauseam, probably 15 minutes. But if you tuned in, you heard me talk about the betting matchups. If you're not familiar, if you didn't hear that show, when you bet matchups, you can do 18-hole matchups or you can do 72-hole matchups. I have been dabbling in the 72-hole matchups for the last couple months leading up to the Masters. Went 4-1 this week. So if you followed and you tailed, you were profitable. Every one I hit was plus odds. I think the worst was plus 115. I had Neiman over Matsuyama. Hideki also. I said fade Hideki. I was right about that too, but I'm not going to toot my own horn. I had Neiman at plus 115 over Hideki. That got a little stressful going into Sunday, but we were able to get it done. I had Phil Mickelson over Jake Knapp at plus 115. That was really never in jeopardy. Phil played okay. The guy's 53. He's not going to be competitive as much as we would have liked, but I still loved him at plus odds at Augusta against a guy who had never played in Jake Knapp. So that hit with ease. And then I bet against Spieth twice. So I had Willie Z plus 130 against Spieth, and Brooks plus 100 against Spieth. Both of those hit easily. Spieth played terrible. I covered Spieth last week too. If you want to go back and watch, my breakdown coverage of the guys I wanted to fade, I said Spieth was not going to have a good week. Everyone loves him. Everyone thought he was going to find it. And I actually bet him the week before in Houston, and he played terrible. And he played terrible again at Augusta. He shot 79, and it wasn't on Saturday, or it wasn't on Friday, the bad day. I think he only shot +2, but he was already way fucked at that point. But yeah, I mean, he just did not play well. But yeah, so if you tailed the matchups, we went 4-1. The only loss was, I'm never gonna live this one down. But I said DJ over Morikawa. Morikawa, I think, beat him by 16. It's pretty impressive. Thanks, DJ. And, of course, that was the one I sized up on the unit perspective because that was the matchup I loved the most. So we still went 4-1, still profitable, not as profitable as we would have liked. But, yeah, I love those betting matchups. Those things are really awesome. I think if you're into gambling or if you're into betting golf and you want to bet those, maybe give them a try. It's interesting because you're always like, you're never out of it. You're never out of it. On the, you can tune in to the coverage and oh man, thanks Bill. I needed that. Yeah, he did. He did just bogey again. Thank you for that. Anyway, if you're into betting golf, check out the 72-hole matchups. They're really fun. You find the right matchup, you can get some good value in those. I like to bet them. I like to bet them at plus odds. But yeah, I just love it because most people not a lot of people watch golf. I know it's boring as hell. I mean, I got like 5 people in here watching me right now, which is probably more than most who watch golf. But maybe give it a try. If you want to tail me, you want to fade me, probably the best bet would be to fade me after I just had a really, really good week. From a betting perspective, maybe fade me this upcoming week. But yeah, anyway, so that was the week that was. Like I said, we nailed the outright. We knit 4-1 in our matchup bets. Not going to focus on the position bets. So yeah, really good weekend betting perspective. We're going to include more of that in the show here as we evolve. I know we're not even a week old yet, but we're always looking to make improvements to the show. So definitely going to be dabbling more in those from a betting perspective. What else? What else do we want to talk about? I guess where we can wrap it up is the weekend golf, RBC Heritage this week. RBC Heritage at Harbortown. It is a signature event. If you're unfamiliar with what the signature event is, essentially the PGA Tour has a elevated event where their best players in the world play in a limited field no cut event. Sound familiar? Sound like LIV Golf much? Good job, Jay. Really, really went outside the box thinking about how you want to elevate your product. But yeah, it is at Harbortown. This is a really weird course. It's in South Carolina. If you've never played it, if you've never watched it, it is one of the tightest courses I think I've ever seen. I've personally never played it. I've played it on Tiger Woods' video game. I've played it on the simulator and have not played well on it. It's not my kind of course. I need a course that has wide open fairways that I can just swing for the fences on. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. I'm curious to see who ends up playing. I know there was a point in time last year, famously Rory withdrew from this event last year, and you could only withdraw from one event, one signature event, or only miss one signature event last year. Rory missed the Kapalua, the first signature event of the year, withdrew from this one, cost him like $3 to $4 million just for withdrawing. Couldn't collect his PIP bonus, performance impact program bonus. It's a very hard, very tight course. It's hard to bet this course because it's produced some interesting winners. Famously last year, Matt Fitzpatrick beat Jordan Spieth in a playoff last year for his second PGA Tour win. The event really delivered last year from the signature event perspective. Not going to lie, this wouldn't be an event I would watch ordinarily. I don't like the course very much, just personally. I just think it's kind of gimmicky. I think there are other courses they could play in South Carolina that are better. But it's produced some interesting winners. I think the year before Fitzpatrick won, Spieth actually won it. That might be his last win in Harbortown 2 years ago. And the year before that, I think, was Stuart Sink. The year before that was Webb Simpson. Wesley Bryan families won this event. If you don't know who Wesley Bryan is, he's a YouTube golfer, absolute stick, but he played in the PGA Tour, won this event. It's a course that doesn't really favor anyone. Obviously, you have to be accurate off the tee. So it doesn't really favor the Bombers at all. So I'm curious to see who's going to play this week, given that all these guys just played in the Masters. So let's go ahead and pull up the board. I'm actually not going to be doing a gambling show this week. I'm going to be out of town on Wednesday. I'm leaving for my bachelor party, which will be super exciting. I'm going to post some stuff on the Instagram. We're playing a couple cool courses outside of Michigan. So if you want to follow us, like I said, at the Scratch Golf Show on Instagram, we're playing a couple courses that I'll post some pictures at, highlight, maybe do a hole with me from that perspective. So we won't be doing a gambling show this week. I'm going to kind of break it down here, and then I'll most likely do like matchup stuff and post my picks on Twitter. If you follow us at Scratch Golf Show on Twitter for those, or I'll post them on my story on Instagram. Probably Wednesday. Usually Wednesday morning is when the matchups drop. I'm leaving Wednesday afternoon to go to my bachelor party, so I'll post those probably Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, depending when those lines drop. We're going to look as far as like a betting perspective this week. We're going to probably have a lighter card just because it's a lighter field. There's not a ton of players in it, and there's no LIV event this week. So let's pull this bad boy up. Alright, I don't know why that's not working. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Cool. All right. So, like I said, top heavy field. Scotty plus 400. I think we're at that point where we're just gonna start seeing Scotty Scheffler every tournament he's in. He's gonna be the betting favorite. We're just kind of there at that point. He's the best player in the world without any fucking doubt. Like Scotty's he's awesome. Plus 400. It wouldn't shock me if he withdrew this week. I don't know officially when they have to announce that, but obviously the week after the Masters, his wife could go into labor any minute, any day now. I'm not gonna project when someone's due date is, but I know she's due sometime before the end of the month. So it wouldn't shock me if Scotty withdrew. Even if he does play, I don't think he'll play well, which for him is probably a top 20. But he's your outright favorite at plus 400. Xander Schauffele plus 1,000. Rory plus 1,200. Ludwig plus 1,200. Patrick Cantley plus 1,400. Tommy lad. Tommy had a good week at the Masters, -4. Good Sunday. I think he had a bogey-free 69 on Sunday. Good for him. Plus 1,800. Colin Morikawa plus 1,800. Max Homa plus 2,200. Will Zalatoris plus 2,500. Siwoo 25. Fitzpatrick 25. Cam Young 25. Wyndham 28. Spieth 28. Theegala 35. Henley. The theme that I'm going to look at this week, I'm going to be betting against a lot of the guys who played well last week. Only reason I say that is because they just had arguably one of the most stressful weeks of the year from a golfer's perspective at Augusta. They're going to be worn out, man. That course is not an easy walk. If you made the cut, you played 72 holes, you're walking up and down, those guys have got to be shot, like mentally and physically. So like for example, like I'll be looking at betting against a guy like Max Homa. I love Max. I think Max is a really good player. He's got an awesome swing. He's a flusher. He connects with the center of the club face often. But like I just got through talking about earlier in the show how Max, 2 top 10s in majors his last 2 majors. It's hard to just get up and get out of bed and compete every week. Like from somebody who, I've played very little competitive golf at all. I mean, I'm a halfway decent golfer. But like it's just hard to get out of bed and like I'm gonna go shoot 68 today for 4 straight days. Like, I'm not gonna make a mistake. I'm not gonna have self-doubt. I'm not gonna make an uncommitted swing. These guys have got to be fried. So that's gonna be my theme this week when I'm looking at from a capping perspective. I'm gonna look at betting against guys like Max Homa. I'm gonna be looking at betting against even like Ludwig. I mean, I know he's a machine, but I mean, he just had a T2. He just played his first Masters. But yeah, I think this will be an interesting week for the tour, especially now that this Rory news has dropped. The week leading up, the week after the Masters, Rory's gonna get questions about it in the press conference. I'm curious to see how that's gonna shake out and how that's gonna roll. But yeah, that's the betting from this week. Like I said, we've got a top heavy event on the PGA Tour. So, like I said, I'll drop my picks on Wednesday, maybe tomorrow. I may try and drop a video tomorrow, not do a live show. I'm still working on getting the kinks out, so I may just do a live video, so stay tuned for that. If you are subscribed to the channel, if you are not, please do. Would mean the world to me. I do this as a hobby, but eventually I would like to do it, full time, probably like 10 years from now. But regardless, if you could subscribe to the channel, it would mean a ton. Like the stream, share it with your friends, share it with your mom, your dad, I don't care who. But yeah, trying to think of what else there is to cover. I think that's it. From the world of golf this week. Like I said, if you're not following the socials, follow us on Instagram at the Scratch Golf Show, and at Scratch Golf Show on Twitter. Like I said, that's where I'll be posting all my picks, and really just interacting with what small community I have. What I want to do, and something I'm gonna try, and as we grow as a show and as I continue to do this on a weekly basis, I'm gonna try and make some improvements. I'm gonna try and do some segment stuff. So as we get closer to summer, I'm gonna try and highlight like a course a week, where maybe I'll do a video or do some video stuff where I post some videos on Instagram, or I'll just post some shorts. But I want to give some love to some courses who maybe don't get a ton of love here in Michigan specifically. So I want to do like a weekly course recap. And yeah, I'm thinking about maybe segmenting the clown tweet of the week. I wish I actually have one pulled up, but I don't want to make that segment debut this week. But yeah, so yeah, stay tuned for that. We're gonna do weekly course reviews. We're hopefully gonna get some guests coming on the show soon. Not trying to shout anyone out, but maybe do an interview. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're hopefully gonna get some guests soon. I want to get my cousin Steven on from Caddy Issues to do some stuff. I know we were supposed to talk with him last week. That didn't happen. Sorry, Steven. I know I wanted to have you on this week too, but I'm still having some issues with my MacBook. So as of now, it's just me. But yeah, we're gonna continue to make improvements to the show. I love doing it. I love doing this with you guys every week. So we're gonna continue to do it. Yeah, but I think that's it. I think I'm gonna wrap up. Went just over an hour today. I think that's about long enough of you guys hearing me and looking at my and looking at my ugly face on the camera here. But thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. I love this. Like I said, I'll do it if it's just me and my dogs watching, or me and the missus who's watching upstairs probably. If it's just her, I'll still be here. So yeah, like I said, for the last time, I know I've hammered on this like 4 times already, but follow us on Instagram at The Scratch Golf Show. Follow us on Twitter at Scratch Golf Show. Subscribe, like the channel. You know, I want to continue to grow, but we're hoping, like I said, to do some more cool stuff. So that's it. I'm going to wrap the show. I'm going to call it there. Thank you guys for jumping in tonight. If you were able to jump in and stick around for the full show, I really do appreciate it and the support. I'm going to try and do some merch stuff too, probably later this summer with the logo. I really love the logo. I think it's a really cool Michigan logo. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for joining the stream tonight. Thank you for listening. Thank you for interacting in the chat. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your week. And like I said, stay tuned for my picks. I'll post those Wednesday. But thanks, guys. I appreciate it.